the Bermuda Triangle, one of the most dangerous places in the world. And today, I'm gonna go explore it.
Toughest of coral due to the fact that they have to go through a temperature fluctuation from about 59 degrees in the winter, which is 1 degree higher than what coral can actually live in, up to 87 degrees in the summer, okay? Now, as the captain told you, the island is surrounded by 280 square miles of this coral reef, okay? Without this reef, Bermuda would cease to exist. So on this side of the island, the coral reef, keep an eye out, okay? Tonight, they will be looking for the fry, those small little minnows. Those minnows think that these lights are actually a rain for them, okay? But they're just setting themselves to be eaten by these fish. Now, while we're on the reef, I want you guys to look for our nocturnal creatures, okay? You guys might see a moray eel, a sleeping turtle. You might even see a sleeping parrotfish. Now, these guys sleep in a peculiar way, okay? They actually sleep inside of a mucus bubble that actually protects them from any predators while they sleep.
Are those the sea cucumbers?
Yes, they are. And you also might see one or two of our lobsters, okay? So we have the spiny lobster. This guy has long tentacles that stick out of its head, and it has a spiny back. The other lobster we have is a slipper lobster. This guy looks like the cockroach of the sea, all right? So if anybody sees anything cool in the glass, feel free to scream it out, all right? Now, if anyone hasn't told you guys yet, Bermuda is the land of alcoholics, okay? We name everything in the eye of a hangover. So and you guys are gonna tell me what it is and just say coral at the end, all right? So we're gonna start off with the hard coral. The captain's got skills. Porthole right there, a hatch right here. We're coming perfectly over the wreck, okay? Remember to look for those man-made shapes. So the straight lines will be the sides of the boat. You will see the depth change. The circles will be the portholes and the mast holes. The squares will be the hatches. And the flat surfaces, as you can see, are the deck of the boat. Now, the shipwreck we are currently over is called the HMS Vixen, standing for Her Majesty's ship, the Vixen. She was built in 1864 in a Roman ramming style, which means she had a bow that was protruding out below her waterline, okay? So the British had built her to chase down enemy ships, ram a hole into the side of them, and sink them. But she faced two major problems, okay? The first problem she faced is that she was just too slow. She was only doing 8 knots, while the enemy ships she was supposed to be chasing were doing 14. Now, to give you guys a little bit more perspective, we were doing about 9 to 10 knots coming out here. So, your little glass bottom boat was faster than this 160-foot long, 32-foot wide ramming ship. The second problem she faced is that she was made out of cast iron. If anybody knows anything about salt water and cast iron, they do not mix, okay? So essentially she was rusting and rusting fairly quickly. So the British decided to take her out of the water and encase her entirely of teak wood. Now, I know you guys know about teak wood, quite heavy, quite dense. What do you think happened when she was encased in that teak wood? No, she didn't sink, but it took her from that awesome 8 knots she was doing down to 4.5. Okay? But the British just weren't ready to give up on her quite yet, and they decided to put 3 wooden masts on her to try and speed her up and turn her into a sail hybrid. Now, these 3 wooden masts did the complete opposite of what they were supposed to do, and they slowed her down to 4 knots flat. So at that point, the British were like, she's useless to us, let's just give her away. And as you way to Bermuda. Now, when we got her, they told us that we could use her as a coastal defense in our western shipping channel, which we are in now. This used to be one of our main shipping channels back in the day. But once we got her out here, we realized that she was just too big and too cumbersome to patrol our shallow reef lines. So we towed her into dockyard, where your cruise ship is docked now, and she was actually used as a floating dormitory for the Irish convict laborers. Lobster! You got it blending in with the sand. Oh, what was I?
Dormitory.
Yeah, so she was she was used as a floating dormitory for the Irish convict laborers, okay? Now, I'm not sure if someone was unhappy about their living conditions, but one night she caught a blaze and sank right alongside the dock. Now, instead of leaving her laid up beside the dock, we decided to refloat her, bring her back out into the shipping channel, and the goal was to sink her flat across the channel floor and use her as a speed bump, sort of. So, any enemy ship that was trying to sneak in wouldn't see her and would wrap right on top of her. But the guy that we had given the task to didn't know much about explosives. No Bermudian really does. And he must have had one too many rum swizzles the night before, because he put all of the dynamite in the center and blew her completely into two. He blew the bow onto a pre-existing coral reef system, as to why we can see it sticking up out of the water today. And he blew the stern back 30 feet, as to why we can glass bottom over it so easily. Now the Vixen, she lived a very miserable life. She failed as a ramming ship. She failed as a floating dormitory. We even failed at sinking her. But, coming over the boiler right there. But she does make a great home for the marine life. And I also think she makes for a sweet glass bottom tour. So scientists came out here in the 70s to take a look at her, okay? And they took some samples. Now these samples showed that the coral that was growing on top of the wreck was growing a whole lot faster than it would in a normal reef system. Anyone want to take a guess as to why?
Minerals.
From? Yes. So the rusting iron actually increases the coral growth by 3 to 5 times. So how long do you guys think it takes for a piece of brain coral to grow to just the size of a soccer ball?
30 years.
On average, 200 years, okay? And as you guys can see, there are plenty on top of the wreck that are larger than a soccer ball. And just to let you know, we only sank this ship here 130 years ago. So, once Bermudians learned that cast iron increases coral growth like this, we started throwing everything old cast iron overboard, okay? We've even sunk a few old ferries. We gotta promote this good old coral growth. The reef protects us, we gotta feed it, right? So does anyone have any questions for me? No? Alright. So I know you guys see all these fish down here and you probably think this is probably a nice spot to fish. Wrong. So all of our shipwrecks are protected by law, okay? So any inshore shipwreck, you cannot fish within 100 meters, and any offshore shipwreck, you cannot fish within 300 meters. And guess what? The fish know this. They're smart. You know why they're smart?
You go to school.
Because they're in a school. Now the captain is going to take a few laps of the bow that is sticking out, okay? And the best vantage point for that would be back upstairs, okay? Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I took a picture of it.
Okay, and here it is for you guys on the right hand side. been on the ships like this here. All right, cool. Did you guys enjoy that?